Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at your forecast for southern Vermont for our first significant snowstorm of the fall here, or the winter season, 2021-2022 winter season. We have seen some places have seen some plowable snow and things like that already, but this will be the first widespread, even at the lower elevations. There should be enough snow to have to get the plows out, and definitely have to shovel and all those kinds of things. We will have some sleet mixed in as well, but I do have. I don't think it's going to be too significant. We'll talk about that. I'll show you where I think sleet will happen, and also by the end of this, I'll give you my updated snowfall map, or my first look at the snowfall map, which will certainly get updated in future forecasts as well. So let's take a look at what's going on. Let's start today. Let's set the stage. This does not look like the stage setting kind of day. If you've looked outside, if you've been outside today, this does not feel like the kind of weather where you're going to get snow in 48 hours. Actually, less than 48 hours it'll be snowing here across southern Vermont. And why is that? Well, we're basically near all-time or record highs for the temperatures out there today, as we're in the upper 50s to low 60s. Which is really, obviously, really warm for the middle of December. This has been true across a lot of the central part of the country, and we've gotten the warm air finally. The really warm air finally did get in here. It's actually been, we had some all-time record December highs set in the Midwest, and we've had, that's kind of set the stage for the severe weather that happened last week in Kentucky, and then the severe weather that happened last night across kind of Iowa and Wisconsin and places west of there too, as we've had this front, which is thankfully not going to cause nearly as many problems across the eastern seaboard as it did there. But this is also setting the stage for, you can see behind it, well behind it, we do get some colder air in. And what's going to happen is this is going to kind of sag through tomorrow, and then it's going to sort of stall out, and then a ripple of low pressure, which is coming from the southern jet stream, is going to kind of ride up along it, and it's going to move the warmer air in our direction and kind of cause what we call overrunning precipitation, where warm air moves over the top of cold air, and that's going to cause some snow. It's not going to be a real strong storm, but just strong enough and just enough lift that it'll give us some snow, a decent amount of snow here across southern Vermont. One of the things that happens in that situation a lot, though, too, is sometimes at the just above the surface, we get enough warm air getting moved in that it actually gets above freezing, and that sets the stage for some sleet. If the layer at the near the surface is real shallow, you can get freezing rain. But I think we're going to basically be either snow or sleet for this storm. Maybe end up as some drizzle sometimes if the precipitation lets up, and that can kind of be a freezing drizzle. But I think for the most part, snow and sleet in southern Vermont out of this storm. And so that's what's going to happen. And so let's take a look at a few more details to get dialed in on where exactly that's going to happen. Next, here's our upper level setup. You can see we've got not a real strong trough here across the eastern part of the United States. As a matter of fact, we're under the bridge today. That's why we're warm. But this trough is not real strong, at least in terms of like as a big, deep trough. But the energy within it is very strong. The energy at the mid to upper levels, but not the jet stream level, but the layer just below that of the atmosphere yesterday, and to some of the mid-levels of the atmosphere with this storm that happened yesterday, which basically moved from eastern Colorado all the way up into Wisconsin and into Canada last night, was just incredible. Lots of straight line winds, over 100 miles an hour in thunderstorms, basically in a huge gust front that moved through the upper Midwest last night. So really significant, really strong, especially given that the jet stream isn't really providing a ton of the energy here. It's really just at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That is what's pushing the warmer or the cooler air across the country, but it's actually this piece of energy way over here, southwest of the Baja California. It's going to kind of inject into this area and ride up along this jet streak here, which is going to be moved just to the east, and that's what's going to give us our precipitation. So let's take a look at what that storm track is going to be looking like exactly. By Saturday at 1 p.m., snow's actually probably starting to break out here, and the storm is trying to start to translate its energy from west of the Appalachian across the eastern part of the Appalachians. Very typical storm track. And what's going to happen is basically between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m., this storm basically kind of dies, and we redevelop a stronger storm off the coast. Now, this storm is not going to take a track like over the Cape Cod and the islands and up along into the Gulf of Maine, which would be how we get our biggest snowstorms, or some of our bigger snowstorms. It's going to kind of flatten out and sneak out to sea, which is why we're not talking huge snow, but just a pretty good snowstorm here to get us started for the year. So what are the details of what we got going on? Okay, so first of all, Saturday, we begin snow by between about noon and 2 p.m. It'll start in places like, it'll start basically down in Bennington first, and the last places over southern Vermont to get it will be up in like the Windsor area, as we kind of go southwest to northeast across southern Vermont. Take a couple hours probably to get snow over all of us. Snow stays all snow through at least 6 p.m. Sleet will mix into the south and at lower elevations. I'll show you a map that kind of explains where that's going to happen soon. Travel will be difficult Saturday afternoon and evening. I think by Sunday morning we'll be all right. There was a bit of a question about that yesterday, but I think the accumulating snow wraps up a little after midnight, probably by 2 o'clock in the morning. And so unless you're out real early on Sunday morning, you should have a chance to get out, plow the roads, put some salt down, and we really should be fine. Precipitation concludes by daybreak on Sunday. Could still have a few flurries left over as the sun's coming up on Sunday morning. Oh, sorry. Let's take a look at where that sleet's going to happen. So where you're in the blue, mostly snow. It's not to say we won't have a little bit of sleet mixed in, and this line could still jog north or south a little bit. We're still 48 hours away. But basically, I think you're looking at the Connecticut River Valley and the Route 7 corridor for the most part that are looking at enough mixed with sleet that's going to be kind of noticeable, and it'll change over fully to sleet. Like I said, this could creep a little further north, could creep a little further south, and I think the elevation as we head into like the Dover, Wilmington areas kind of helps keep you snow there, whereas it's some of these lower elevations where the sleet really mixes in. So in terms of those snowfall forecasts, let's take a look here. Basically, we're looking at across the higher elevations at jackpot areas as they normally are, I think 6 to 9 inches. That could come up a little bit, still possible. We are getting a decent amount of precipitation out of this. Most of us will see 4 to 8 inches, except for in the Connecticut River Valley and in the Bennington area, where we're looking at about 3 to 6 inches, I think, of snow for most of those areas. So definitely enough to cause some problems on the roadway Saturday night, enough to help out the ski areas, but not a huge dumping, not the kind of storm that you're going to have to, really be too concerned about. And by Sunday, certainly by mid-morning on Sunday, roads should be fine. So just keep that in mind if you're headed out. Otherwise, I will be back with a live, or I'll be back with my weekend forecast, which I normally do on Friday mornings anyway tomorrow. So go ahead and join me for that, and then I will be back. I'm going to go live tomorrow night, which will be a little different. I usually take about 15-20 minutes and really go through all the details and really kind of nerd out on the weather. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, join me tomorrow night. That'll probably happen somewhere in the probably a little later in the evening, maybe 8:30, because I've got a couple things going on earlier in the evening. But later on that evening, we'll take about 20 minutes and really kind of do a nerd deep dive on what's going on weather-wise. And then probably on Saturday morning, I'll have a final forecast out for what's going on. So that's the schedule going forward for the Weather Guy. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd encourage you to do that. Thank you for those of you who have. And also, if you're interested in becoming a patron and helping support financially what I do here at the West River Weather Guy, you can follow the link in the description of the YouTube video below, and that will tell you how to do that. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Stay safe out there and try to enjoy the snow.